Hi, everybody. My name is Eamon. Welcome to another episode of Pat Monk Presents. Today we have Mason joining us all the way from Sales Assembly. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here, Eamon. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So great to have you. So with this, obviously all our listeners are tuned in. For those that are not familiar with Sales Assembly, maybe give us a quick download and overview of how you help people and organizations.
Yes, at a super high level, what we offer is elevated learning and development for go-to-market teams. So if you are thinking about how do we develop our people effectively, what we offer is a platform that has industry thought leaders, industry experts, practitioners that are on a week in, week out basis, actually teaching and training sales and customer success and marketers how to effectively do that in the modern day. So the goal is that it's always relevant, it's always timely. And really, as we think about like the three things that make us unique, it is built for engagement, it is enhanced by community, and it is focused on outcomes. So when you join Sales Assembly, you get to be a part of over 200 other B2B tech companies like yourself that are trying to actively grow their business, and you get to tap into that community to figure out how we're going to all do this together. So that is Sales Assembly in a nutshell.
Fantastic. I love that. And I love the way you're building the community around this because that is so important. And definitely like you mentioned, like engagement, outcome, these are very important points as well. And like dealing with different businesses, like do you find that you're really focused on any specific niches or expanding in different areas, or how's it working?
Yes, honestly, we do serve the B2B tech community. So it's less of a specific industry or niche, and it's more of, do they have a focus on actual sales enablement? Do they have a focus on learning and development? And what we see works best when you actually purchase Sales Assembly is if you have someone or a team that is dedicated specifically to sales enablement. There's still lots of sales orgs in which that enablement piece lives with the CRO. But if you've got a dedicated sales enablement champion internally, then you're going to see the most success with Sales Assembly. So again, it's less industry specific and more just kind of B2B tech sales enablement focused.
Great. And like with this, when you're focused on these different niches like B2B and tech, where do you find yourself like gaining new clients? I mean, what different strategies, outbound, is it inbound, is it through the website? What seems to be working very well for you at the moment?
Yeah. So at the time of this recording, I am 5 weeks into this role. So my job is actually to build the demand gen program. So they have been able to grow from zero to, again, like 200. I think we're at 230 clients right now, in just 5 years, entirely through networking and just kind of being well known within the space and referrals. And that's been the main way that we've done our growth thus far. That will probably be the way that we continue to grow is through referrals and networks for the next 6 to 9 months. But the goal is that we start to build this content program, this demand program that starts to bring people inbound so that we're actually being able to expand outside of our existing networks and actually being able to position the brand as the authority for sales enablement in this overall B2B tech space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like you touched on some great points there. One is, if you're getting lots of referrals, that's one of the best. Because if you have a very happy customer that's getting a lot of results and they refer you to another person, that's one of the best. Also, you're thinking
Absolutely.
about creating lots of content, people coming to the website and inbound. I mean, how important is your website at taking those visitors and turning them into future customers and happy clients?
Yes, as we're actually having this conversation, I feel like this is the resounding theme of many marketers, but we are in the process of updating our website with new brand messaging, with new persona specific pages, with things that actually speak very directly to the value of the product for each different persona that we engage with. So from our perspective, the website's going to be critical for actually housing a lot of our sales enablement content for our sales team to point people towards, and ideally to start to drive inbound and have specific dedicated landing pages for our ad campaigns. The website is very important as we think about how do we convert people through a marketing funnel. Traditionally, it's not been as important because it's been referral network based, but moving forward, it's going to be pretty critical for success.
No, yeah, definitely. And like when you were saying that, like you're doing the website update, the brand update, I mean, this is always, I've seen this so often that people are going through this and you kind of have this dip before you go back up again. I mean, branding, especially branding and community kind of go hand in hand together. I
Yeah.
mean, you need to have a strong brand to have a strong community. And when you have a strong community, you have a strong brand. So it's which came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah. And I
So
mean, if we want to talk about it for Sales Assembly, I would actually say it's the community that built the brand. So it's going to be interesting moving forward is we've got a clear stake in the ground of who we are as a company. So it'll be interesting to see as we do different things moving forward, how that impacts the community.
very good. And let's say kind of switching gears here for a moment and talking about you, Mason, as a leader within marketing. I mean, what keeps you busy on a day-to-day basis?
Right now, it's going to be a lot of content and a lot of content operations and automation. So we run a very lean team at Sales Assembly. So my goal is to tap into our subject matter experts, amplify their voice, and figure out how we can do as much of that that is not just quantity content, but is quality content. And I think in order to get quality, you eventually have to go through a lot of reps. So what's keeping me busy right now is just producing the reps of good content and creating a culture of content within Sales Assembly to share more publicly our subject matter expertise.
Fantastic. Man, it sounds like you're busy. So very good, very good. And like what I'd like to do now is jump into our rapid fire section of the podcast. So if you're ready, let me know.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So you're in the hot seat. So what was the last book you read or currently reading?
Um, it's not as fun and exciting. I have a baby on the way, so I'm reading a book called Baby Wise. That's a sleep training book. So not specific to business, but that is the last book that I read.
Very important, very important as a dad. Definitely, you know what? It's always good to have books outside of marketing and business as well. And definitely, there's probably nothing bigger in your life going to happen this year. And
Absolutely.
so it's good to prepare. So also with this, I mean, what do you find is one thing that's taking up a lot of your time at the moment? I kind of you touched on this earlier, but where's your main focus going? Like you were saying, content. I mean, is there anything you could expand on that, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think even outside of just content, it is strategy documentation and like strategy alignment because Sales Assembly knows that we need demand gen, but they've never built it. So I am doing both education internally on what this is and how to do it, as well as building it. So honestly, outside of like building the content program, it is a lot of internal education and strategy documentation so that they can wrap their mind around what we're doing.
Great, great. And like, let me ask you this: if there was one boundary, let's say in technology, that you've come across, I mean, if there was like no boundaries and you had a magic wand and you could change it, like what's one thing you'd like to have fixed in, let's say, Sales Assembly today that you could just, I don't know, automate or make easier?
Um, Content automation processes and building a content database.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know Stephen Pope, but he just has a ton of great content on how to do content automation. So all of his workflows in Zapier and leveraging ChatGPT and AI to like streamline all of his workflows. It is just mind blowing the ability that he has to take a transcript and turn it into literally 30 pieces of content in like an instant. It's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I must check out Stephen Pope. It's super interesting times we live in with AI and ChatGPT and all of this. So I think we're at the start of a renaissance, and I can only imagine what it's going to be like in the next 4 or 5 or 10 years. So with that, I mean, I'd like to like imagine you could turn back time. Well, it's not too much because I think you said you're 5 weeks in a row, but you could go back 5 weeks, knowing what you know now. I mean, what would you do a little bit differently, or what advice would you give yourself?
So I slightly unique. I built out a 30-60-90 in the interview process and said this is what I would do in the first 90 days. And they
Hmm.
were like, that sounds great. So that's why they hired me. So
Hmm.
like honestly, from that perspective, we're right on track where we should be. I think if there was anything that I would do differently, I would have documented more earlier because now they're like, we know we talked about this, but we don't remember all of the details that we just kind of talked through. Can you like document it? So I'm going back and documenting some stuff. And I wish I had just documented it in the first place. So learning that about myself, if I need to be better about documentation of what I'm thinking, because not everybody is a marketer. Not everybody can say, we talk through an idea and they conceptually understand how it functions when you've been primarily in sales or rev ops.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So look, what I can say is very simple. Mason, thank you so much for being on the podcast for today. I want to give you the last word though. I mean, if someone forgets everything that we just spoke about, everything that you just shared about Sales Assembly, I mean, what's the one thing that you'd like them to remember about Sales Assembly?
One thing about Sales Assembly is very practically, if you are trying to develop your team, I think it is the most effective and cost-effective way to actually develop a team. Our pricing is very transparent on our website. It's $30,000 a year, all inclusive for everyone in the commercial go-to-market team. And we've got training across 15 different roles. So if you're a BDR or a CRO, we've got training and education in peer groups and community for you. So if you're trying to figure out how to develop your team right now to sell in the current environment, I think Sales Assembly is the best option on the market.
Very good. Very good. So if you like that and you want to find out more, I believe the website is just very simple, salesassembly.com. So yeah, that's it. So very much, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining. Best of luck with the baby and all of that. Educating.
Thank you.
And after that, there's yes, you can read so many books, but until it happens,
yeah.
So best of luck with that. And that is it for today's episode. So everybody, looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Pat Monk Presents. All the best and bye-bye.